Rapport family, we are back with another great edition of Building Rapport. Today we have a special guest for you guys. Auburn tight end Luke Deal joins us. Luke, thanks for joining us, man.
Happy to be here.
Well, Luke, listen, I want to get the interview kicked off by talking a little bit about what this offseason has been like with strength and conditioning. Now, we saw some coaching staff changes. This is year 2 of the Brian Harsin era. How are you guys doing with the strength and conditioning in year 2 under Brian Harsin?
Yeah, it's been a huge part of this staff, a huge emphasis, and I mean, you look at the numbers from whenever we first started under Coach Harsin, Coach Pitt, and this staff. I mean, to now, the increases are crazy. Guys are getting stronger. Guys are getting faster. Max week was just electric. I mean, guys are just shattering old PRs, and man, it's just been fun being able to simplify it into just working every day, getting stronger, and it's been a big part. I know when we talk class, I told you, I mean, it's a huge part of our team right now.
Is Coach Harsin hitting the weight room with you guys? Is he shattering PRs too?
Oh yeah, he always is. He's always in there. He's been in there kind of watching us too, but you can always see him in the corner doing something, trying to outwork somebody.
All right, Luke. So as Mike stated, we're in year 2 under Brian Harsin, and there's been some changes on the offensive staff, but the offensive philosophy, from what we've been told, is largely remaining the same. And for you guys, you got a chance to be involved in the offense a lot more last year than you have in years past. Going into year 2, with you guys having a better understanding of the offense, what has that been like in spring practice?
I mean, we've got a veteran group. We were talking about it the other day. We've got a bunch of guys in the room that really understand the offense, that people can come to, and we got a bunch of leaders in that room. And so definitely, we were a big part of the offense last year, and we're just becoming even more and more part of the offense. And like you said, the philosophy, different coordinators can call it different, but we still have the same philosophy, man. I mean, it's just hard-nosed football, along with just shots off it, just a bunch of different things. I mean, that's Coach Harsin's philosophy, that pro style, that multiple style, and it helps the tight ends out, and we love being a part of it, being a huge part of it.
Luke, tight ends at Auburn have traditionally been underused, and we probably saw more tight end usage last year than we've seen in a lot of prior years combined. But I want to talk a little bit about chemistry, because now that you guys are being incorporated a little bit more into the offense, and nobody wants to come to school and block for 4 years. So can you talk about chemistry with these new quarterbacks? TJ Finley obviously returns, but you got Robbie Ashford. I think Zach Calzada is a little limited this spring, but you got the newcomer Holden Gariner in there. How are you guys doing? Are you guys doing throwing sessions on the side? Like, how are you guys developing chemistry with the new quarterbacks?
Yeah, so during winter workouts and everything too is when all that kind of started. It's not just a spring ball thing. We've been throwing with all these guys. Like you said, Zach's a little limited, but he's still throwing it, and he's doing well. So, I mean, we've been kind of building that chemistry before spring ball, and now that spring ball is happening, I feel like we're clicking a lot better. Obviously, it's different whenever you're in an offense and the flow of the game. When you add the run game, you add live bodies. When you have defensive linemen coming at quarterbacks, or we've got to go off of a DB or something, it's obviously different. But we've built that chemistry, like you said, just throwing sessions on the side. Trying to do a little extra work and just trying to get used to it. We've all played for different quarterbacks. I mean, Shank started off with Stidham. I played with Bo. Shank played with Bo, and obviously we played with TJ too. So trying to get better with all that chemistry. I mean, it's a huge thing, like you said.
Who stands out at quarterback right now, a few days into fall camp?
Man, I'm going to be honest with you. I hear that question all the time. And it depends on the day, really, and that's how it is in the game of football, man. Not every play is going to be perfect. Not every day is going to be perfect. But all those guys are really competing. You can tell. Just anybody who can come to practice can tell that these guys are really competing, and it's an open job. And I mean, that's how Coach Harsin likes it. He's he's told us since day one, quarterbacks are going to have to compete to play. So nothing's given.
Luke, let's talk about Bradley Dale for a minute. He's kind of been a hit since he's been at Auburn as one of the more popular offensive coaches with his personality. What has been his message to you guys? You're a pretty experienced group. You expected to be using the offense heavily, and you're going to be used obviously in blocking, but you expect to catch some passes as well. But what has been his message going into year 2 to this group?
Yeah. So last year it was more about, okay, you guys are now getting utilized. Get used to it. Get your feet wet. Get ready for this offense. This is coming. Now his message is just to lead the offense. Like that is our job. We're no longer just finding our place. We know our place and the details of everything, the little details, footwork on things, or route depth, or techniques, getting off, shedding DBs, or just everything, little details. Because last year it was more of a broad spectrum for us to be learning. Since we've been, I mean, like you said, it's been kind of an underutilized situation for the tight end pass. But last year it was more just getting our feet wet. Now it's the real deal. We're expected to be that experienced group to help lead this offense, and just be ready to go.
Are you guys doing more 2 tight end sets? Can we expect more of that this season?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to use 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends on the goal line. We'll use 4. I mean, that's just how Coach Harsin is. That's kind of how, obviously, Coach Bedell would like. So we'll see. But right now in spring ball, we're using a good amount of tight ends. We got a deep room. We got an experienced room. So we're going to utilize it.
Luke, I want to talk a little bit about injuries. There have been some notable injuries so far this spring. How do you feel like the team's doing overall in terms of overall health this spring? I know you guys concentrate on strength and conditioning. Calzada, had the surgery. Now Jarquez Hunter had something he's trying to clean up. How are you guys doing on injuries, and what are the coaches doing to help get everybody healthy?
Yeah, so these guys that are injured, I could tell you firsthand. Whenever I tore my ACL my freshman year, it's nonstop rehab. Now they're in there getting treatment all the time. They're doing everything they can to get back on the field, but just some of these, it just happens in spring ball. You know how it is when you play the game of football, when you play a live game of football. At some point, injuries happen. They're inevitable, which it sucks, but it's part of the game. I think some of these guys just wanted to get back and better, or the coaches thought that it was necessary for them to either have a surgery or go through that extra treatment, that extra rehab. And overall health has been pretty good. It really has. Like you said, you noted some of the guys who've been limited, but overall health, man, we're playing a physical brand of football in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
When you're playing that physical, we've got pretty good health for that.
Luke, so you're a vet. you're a leader on this team now. And one of the things that we look forward to in spring is not so much you guys, because you're kind of a known. We got game film on you, but we're looking at some of the younger guys who are new to this team. And so the question I have for you is, who's been standing out as far as the young guys who are new to Auburn? Who's been impressing in practice? Who's been showing that they actually can contribute in the fall?
There's a bunch of different guys that you could name, both offensively and defensively. I know Jay Fair has been a really good he's been a freshman guy that we didn't have much, obviously. I mean, he's a freshman. We didn't have anything on him, and he's coming out and he's really done something. Tavares Dawson also stepping into a big role. And then guys like, Shedrick Jackson, you have a bunch of film on him, but Shed has really elevated his game, and he's become the leader in that receiver room. And
Okay.
it's been really cool to see. He's taken, and that wasn't just in spring ball. Shed was always out there doing a little bit of extra, and that's what leaders do. He's a special teams freak also. So he's really stepped it up. That's the guy who comes to mind. Even though you've got film on him, I mean, he's really stepped it up.
That's interesting to hear you say that, Luke. Everybody we've interviewed on the team now has brought up Shed stepping his game up. So I think that's pretty awesome.
And he's not the only one. He's not the only one.
Right.
I mean, we've got within our room. I mean, Brandon Frazier didn't see a bunch of time last year. He's competing. He's playing really well, and he's become, like I said earlier, we in the tight end room, we're deep, and we don't have any liabilities, and he's become one of those guys that can step up, and he's playing really well. So I mean, and he's not the only one. Like I said, on defense, I'm sure you guys can get a defensive guy up here to talk more about that, because usually I'm not paying attention too much to the defense. But yeah, man, those guys have been stepping up, and like I said, the younger receivers have really stepped up too.
Speaking of being deep in the tight end room, you guys have a noticeable kind of hybrid move here going on with Landon moving to do some time at wide receiver. So I've always thought that the tight end room was deep and talented. What have you seen from him? What has that move been like for him, moving from tight end to spending time at receiver?
Yeah, well, when Landon came in, we knew how good of a receiver he was. Everybody kind of knows that, and I know he is loved playing tight end. And look, who's to say he won't come back and do all this? Like you said, he's a hybrid type guy. I think he's kind of in the position of wherever I'm needed most, I'll move, and he's unselfishly taken that. And the coaches use that to their advantage. I mean, look, when you have a guy who can jump from room to room and do those different things, I mean, Landon's an incredible receiver. You saw in the Alabama game, he had one of the greatest catches I've seen, especially out of a freshman. I mean, it was clutch. So he's a great guy. We love Landon. He's learned a lot under Coach Bedell. I know he respects and loves Coach Bedell. And also with Coach Hilliard now, he's getting to know him and how they do things in the wide receiver room. So I think it'll be good for him, and I think it'll be good for our offense. He's a big receiver. You can't have too many of those. So he's a great hybrid, and he's doing a great job.
So, Luke, we have a new offensive coordinator, a promotion from within, Eric Keesaw. And when he talked to the media, he kind of reiterated some of the things that Coach Harsin talked about when he first got to Auburn. He basically said that we want to be physical. We want to be a run first, a downhill team. Have you seen, is the message pretty much the same to you guys, or can you tell that there's been an emphasis more in terms of the run game, utilizing our running backs?
Yeah, I think the message, as you said, is similar to before, because I mean, that's Coach Harsin's philosophy. Everybody's on the same page. But this spring, we really honed in on downhill run game. We've got some really good backs. I mean, Tank is an incredible back. So we're going to utilize it. We're going to utilize that. We're going to utilize a big offensive line. We're going to utilize big tight ends, deep tight ends, and run it down people's throat. And that's our philosophy. And I think, like you said, I mean, I think that's really been emphasized this spring with both the running backs, how they're hitting the holes, and us up front. I mean, I include myself sometimes with the offensive lineman, but you can also include it with the receiver. So, but opening up those holes, man, just downhill physical run game. That's what we want to be all about, and we've emphasized it for sure.
How has the walk-on Sean Jackson looked this spring?
Man, Sean can play. Everybody knows if you've watched Sean, whether you've watched him running the ball or watch him run down and hit somebody on kickoff. I mean, Sean's a physical dude. He really is. He's big. He's strong. He's played really well, and he's a great guy too. He's a hard worker, and I know he's got the respect of the running backs in that room, and he's got the respect of everybody on the offense. So he's been really good, and I think this has been really good for him to get even more reps than before. Obviously bad for Jarquez, but Jarquez will come back. He'll bounce back. He'll be perfectly fine. So I think it's been really good for him. He's had a good spring so far.
Well, Luke, you guys made a change at offensive coordinator. Coach Eric Keesaw has been promoted to offensive coordinator, but Coach Harsin is going to be calling plays. So what can you tell us about how this system might look different from what you guys ran a majority of the season under Mike Bobo, and what fans can expect to see from Auburn's offense in 2022?
Yeah, kind of as we just talked about. When Harsin came in, his philosophy was downhill running game, being physical, and playing off that, and having a fluid offense off of that, multiple sets. Same with Coach Keesaw, and it's going to be the same way with him calling it this year. So it's a very multiple and fluid offense, which is something that we love, we enjoy, and something that we need. I mean, the defense always has to be on their toes in this offense. And you put them on their toes, first of all, by being physical. Second of all, with everything else that comes with it. So I think that's what you need to expect, is just multiple sets, multiple different creativity, but also, I mean, it's all going back to just one thing, which is being physical.
All right, Luke, you said that you don't pay too much attention to what's going on the defensive side, but you got to block somebody. Somebody over there is tough to block. Someone over there is a good defender. So on the defensive side, who's been standing out in your matchups with people to make you say, man, this guy can ball a little bit? Who's been giving you some trouble in practice?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm usually blocking, and this has been the same way since I've been at Auburn. So it's no different, but he's elevated his game. Derek Hall, I block more than anybody else throughout the day, and he's a stud, man. He's one of my best friends. He'll be in my wedding coming up here soon. So he is really playing well. He's physical. He's tough. He's tough to block. He's got some long arms matched with some strength, and he is as athletic as they come. So he's been great. Colby Wooden, I mean, he's moved a little bit outside, so we're handling him a little bit more.
Okay.
Usually with a little bit of tackle help, because he's a big boy. But Colby's my guy. Also, he's having a great spring so far, and those guys are getting after it. They bought into what they're talking about defensively, and they're playing, and they're having a good time with it too. You can tell. It sometimes aggravates us because they like to talk a lot, but
I was gonna say,
yeah, they like to talk.
Yeah. You go up against Derek Hall 10 times. How many times is Luke Deal putting Derek Hall on his ass? Be honest.
You know what? I'm just gonna tell you 10, just to make him mad. Just to make him
Good
mad.
answer. Good answer.
Yeah.
Make sure he watches this. As a matter of fact, Luke, I'm going to put it on you to get Derek to come on the show next so we can hear his side.
And you know what he's going to say. He's going to say 10 times, the other way. So that's just how we are, though.
Luke, we appreciate you joining us, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. On a personal note, can you tell us a little bit about, you had a kind of a high-profile struggle going on in your life. Can you tell us, give the fans an update on your dad and how he's doing in his fight?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing okay. I appreciate everybody who's thought about him, prayed about him, and everything that you guys have done on the show for him. Just day by day, man. He's at a point where he is just working day by day to be the best dad he can be, the best husband he can be. And we're never promised tomorrow. Nobody is. And I think he's done an incredible job handling it and still being the same guy that he always has been. So he's doing okay. He's at home, and I get to call him. And I know spring ball right now is tough. I got spring ball in classes and everything, but get to call every chance I get, and get to go home every chance I get to. So I know he appreciates everybody's prayers. I sure do. It's tough, but he's still battling.
Well, Luke, we appreciate you taking some time to talk to us today about how spring practice is going, giving us a little update on the team and updating us on what's going on in your life. Our prayers are with you always. You've always got a friend at the War Report, so thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all.
Well, that's it for another great edition of Building Rapport with our guy, Luke Deal. Look, if you want more content like this, hit like and subscribe. We are the War Rapport on every single social media platform. TW Rapport on TikTok. Fellas, we're signing off, and as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.